I know what you're wondering. Monica, why do you look so cute?
Bitch, you ugly as fuck. Bye.
I know other people are wondering, why are you by yourself when this is a scary stories video? The truth is, I am not by myself. As you all know, there's some entities in my house. And I just wanted to do an homage to how my Valentine's Day went. So we got our water. Here I am by myself. I will be reading these stories with whatever's in my house. This is not an invitation to do anything else, to do anything at all. But I'm just saying this app is gonna be here sometimes, whoever's listening out there. And you could use it sometimes if, you know, you're feeling up to it.
A few months.
Okay, so I'm just gonna pick stories at random. Usually I have them all organized, but we get what we get. Sometimes y'all send me illegal stuff. Sometimes y'all send me like, y'all wrote it when you were on the toilet taking a shit. I'm just going by the titles, actually. So like I said, I'm just gonna be reading stories. And I'll ask you to respond if you want to respond. After reading reviews of the app Necrophonic, it's clear that the feelings toward it are very split. Like I've mentioned before, I don't do in-depth research beforehand of apps or haunted locations because I don't want to make anything up in my head. With that being said, post-filming research led me to an article by the creators of the app, Chill Seekers. An excerpt from their website says, the audio itself is made up of phonemes, partial words, reverse audio, foreign languages, and other parts of speech that can help spirits communicate. Besides some basic phonetic sounds such as na, no, da, do, di, ma, etc., there are no real words or phrases contained in these banks. I will repeat that. There are no real words or phrases contained in these banks. Okay. This one is from Jocelyn. Hello, my name is Jocelyn and I live in Illinois, but I grew up in Guatemala along with my sister. We were both raised by my grandma and great-grandma who are from El Salvador. They moved to Guatemala because of the civil war that was going on in El Salvador in the 70s, 90s. When my great-grandma was little, she lived in a small rural area of El Salvador. Her family had a little farm and they lived off from raising and selling cattle. She told me a lot of stories and sometimes I would ask her to tell me those same stories over and over, so that's how I know this one by heart. One of the stories she told me made me scared of rivers or any type of body of water until now. In the area where she lived, there was a witch, and everyone in the area knew about her, and they wouldn't dare talk to her because they were scared of this witch. However, the witch had a liking to my great-grandma. She would spoil my great-grandma and let her play with the animals she had. One day, a little girl who lived in that area went missing. The last time they saw her, she was playing by the river. Everyone had looked everywhere in the river, and they couldn't find her. So the parents of the girl were desperate and asked for the witch to help them. The witch accepted and called my great-grandma to come to her house. My great-grandma did, and then the witch gave her something to drink. When I asked her what it was, she said she doesn't remember the smell or taste of it, but she said it looked like water. Shortly after my great-grandma finished the drink, she said she blinked, and when she opened her eyes, there was water from her waist down. And when she looked up, the girl who disappeared was in front of her. She was dead. My great-grandma ran to the witch's place and told her where the body was. The body was trapped between a bunch of roots from a tree that was growing on the side of the river. It was hard to see, so that's why they had missed it a bunch of times when they were looking for the girl. When my great-grandma asked the witch what had happened, the witch told her that the girl's spirit possessed her so she could show my great-grandma where her body was. After that, my grandma still went to play to her house because it was better than being with her own family. The witch was kind to her and would have never done anything to hurt my great-grandma, unlike my great-grandma's father. My great-grandma was an amazing person and I love her very much. If you have your grandparents or great-grandparents alive, please talk to them and let them tell you their stories. My grandma, I'm mad at right now because she literally sent me a video of a Facebook doctor saying that there's no point of staying inside because you'll catch COVID just from being inside, and that there's no point in social distancing. And I told my grandma, I was like, Abuelita, ese no es doctor de verdad. Por favor, cuídate. But she didn't reply to me. I don't think she knows how to read messages. Oh, let's get the reaction of our homegirl. What do you think of that story? What do you think? I just heard an actual voice behind me, but we're gonna ignore it. You know what? I'm not scared. You know why? Because I'm lit. If I did not drink, then I would be myself. Scary but unknown story for your channel. Hello Monica, my name is Jade, so feel free to use my name in any story. What? This is an unknown story that has haunted me for almost 9 years. I'll be 13 in March. Do not listen to us when we say bad words if you are below the age of 18. Don't say bad words, guy. I would be myself. So when I was around 4 years old, I was a normal, sweet, and smart kid just starting kindergarten. My usual bedtime would be around 7 to 8 p.m. as always, but whenever my household would be asleep, I would have dreams of small but black figures, maybe around 2 before maximum. They never used to say anything to me nor look at me unless I looked at them. During those nights, those beings came. I always felt like I was floating in my bed, and I used to think it was fun. Since I was a kid, I never thought of how scared I was until I got older, and it completely stopped once I got my first twin bed. Till this day, it still creeps me out because my mom has told me plenty of stories about my family's encounters with UFOs, this shadow man, and 7-foot tall black figures, especially in my grandma's house, but we no longer talk. So I really don't like talking about it or thinking about it, and I remember you saying, I'm not afraid because they can't touch me. And I've stuck to that phrase for a while. Thank you so much, Jade. I love that story. I don't know why I said that. I actually have a story similar to that happened to my great aunts in Mexico.
Ok, pues sucede que se metieron a robar a la casa de tus tías. Tus tías viven a un lado de la casa de con tu papá Miguel, el abuelito. Entonces, los ladrones se subieron a la azotea para brincarse. Entonces, ellos los alcanzaron a ver, tus tías los alcanzaron a ver y se encerraron bien y llamaron a la policía. Entonces llegó la policía y los atrapó. Pudo atrapar a 1 o 2, no sé cuántos, pero los atrapó. Entonces, el muchacho le dijo que ya cuando los llevaban, que el muchacho le dijo... Dice, ni nos pudimos meter, dice, había muchísima gente. Había muchísima gente en el patio. Y los policías, ¿cuál gente va? Y entonces sucede de que como tus tías siempre le rezan a las almas del purgatorio, cuando tú les rezas, ellas te cuidan. ¿Sí? Entonces estos hombres pues se querían meter a robar, pero vieron a mucha gente, pues eran las almas del purgatorio que las estaban cuidando. Por eso no se metieron. Pero no había nadie.
I'm 25 years old and I still am scared of the dark, but it's okay. It's okay, guys. It's okay. Who's texting me? Fabi. Say hi to Fabi. Wait, she's not here. My name is Brian and this is my story. My father was married to this woman. They had 2 children. Throughout the marriage, my father met my mother. They fell in love with each other. Oh. My father soon got a divorce with his ex-wife. Of course, they had issues regarding that, but they both agreed with visitation for his daughters. Soon after, my father dealt with horrible pain. They went to the doctors and said nothing was wrong. They then went to a woman who studied tarot cards, sage, and stuff like that. She did a trick that's very common from what I saw. They basically did the egg trick with water and smoke. They did this and a black yolk came out. She explained to my mother someone or something bad is on him, a curse. The only person who has had a problem with him was of course the ex-wife. It was no question that she did brujeria. Keep in mind he left all his clothes at the house. He left his ex-wife and his daughters with the house. The medium I guess told him it's a possibility that she used his clothes to do it. Of course they cleansed him and I guess all was okay. I wasn't born yet when this happened. When I was born, strange things started happening. My dad's daughters one time came up to him saying, "My mom says you don't love us anymore." Of course, with my dad and mom being concerned, they assumed the ex-wife was manipulating their kids. The daughters kept making comments about my father not loving them and saying he hates them. Then on one of their birthdays, she got run over by a car. I was blamed for her death. I was only a year old. But the ex-wife was so sure that it was my fault, saying ever since he was born, everything went bad. Now look at her. I found out about all this when I was 13. I got really into the paranormal and was intrigued, but my beliefs prohibit me from actually participating. I recently got in touch with the other sister, and when I tell you her response shocked me. She is convinced that she has no father and was born with only her mom. She never had a dad and wasn't conceived by a man.
There is no what if. I am pregnant. And it is Jesus.
My mother was convinced that her mother manipulates her, but there's one thing that makes me think. What if she participates with her mother in brujeria? I'm scared. We went again, like 4 years ago, to the medium. She said she finally found out what the curse was about, and it was back. It's a spell that basically is, if you can't be happy with me, then you can't be happy with anyone else. And ever since that, everything went to shit. My dad started being more mad out of nowhere. Horrible things he started saying. It got worse to the point where we left one time and he was back to normal. So we went back, everything went into shit again. We left again, he was fine. We came back to shit, so now we permanently left him. He is fine now, but I refuse to go back. Hold on, let me get a grip. Oh, whoa, that Bacardi hit me right now. Hold on. Let me download Tinder. Thank you for your story, Brian. Love you. Oh, I tweeted, you guys are all so scared of my videos, but I'm scared of shit. Like Doodle Bob from SpongeBob. It goes, ahoy, minoy. Gave me nightmares, guys. When I was growing up, there was a specific period of time when very sinister conspiracy theories came out about cartoons we would watch. There were the plethora of SpongeBob theories, one that explained Bikini Bottom as being the result of a nuclear testing site, specifically a testing site in real life called Bikini Atoll, where a bomb was blown up underwater. The characters are said to be mutants caused by that radiation because every bomb that went off in the show,
hey guys, I finished that.
is identical to the real-life photographed explosion. Another theory is that Ed, Ed, and Eddie are all dead and stuck in limbo, otherwise known as the cul-de-sac. There are no adults in the show, so they are all believed to be children who have passed on during different eras. Their tongues are blue and faces are pale, much like on a cadaver. The Kanker sisters don't have these complexions, so they are believed to be demons tormenting the poor children to suffer in limbo as theorized. Other theories include Ash Ketchum being in a coma and stuck in time as a 10-year-old. The characters in Winnie the Pooh are representative of mental illnesses, and the kids in Rugrats are only a part of Angelica's imagination due to her parents' negligence. My favorite cartoon, Courage the Cowardly Dog, was creepy even without the theories. The episode where Muriel gets possessed scared the shit out of me as a kid. So it's definitely not spared from the creative minds of the internet. People have said the middle of nowhere is actually hell, and Courage is actually Cerberus, the three-headed hound of hell who protects Muriel, a representation of mankind, and the home of Eustace, whom is actually Hades. Their encounters were said to be with the evils of the underworld. There's an even creepier theory that stems from the last episode of the first season, where it was said the show took a weird turn. Courage maniacally puppeteers Eustace and Muriel through an entire plot, making people think Courage is in a manic state brought on by starvation and isolation, and that from that episode on, he continues puppeteering his dead owners to pretend they are still with him.
The things I do for love.
If Goober doesn't do that to me, I don't want him. Ooh, this one says just bad luck, right? Warning right now, mentions of self-harm, depression, and anxiety. Oh, wait, we almost forgot about our homegirl. See, this is why I'm single, guys. I'd be forgetting I'm in a relationship. What do you think of that story? The story I just read. What do you... I'm not scared. What do you think of the woman who did all of that? No te entendí ni madres. My name is Maritza, and the story I'm about to tell you happened to my mother when she was younger. My mom used to teach/work at a university, so she was always walking around the campus. One day she was in the old main building, which is the original building built in 1885, and she needed to pee, so she... Intermission. My mom said that I used to eat like a rat. She needed to pee, so she made her way into the restroom. When she opened the bathroom door, there was a little lounge room with chairs for people to sit in, but the room was dark and extremely cold. On one of the chairs, she noticed that there was a woman weeping. She described to be in all black, wearing a long skirt and having a ponytail. My mom said she looked a little outdated. This was in the early 2000s, so she found the lady kind of out of place. The lights were also flickering, but only on one side that the woman was on. The woman was crying, but my mom said that it was not a normal cry at all.
Sorry, you guys.
She told me it sounded like the poor woman was in distress. My mom instantly got goosebumps and a bad feeling in her chest. But since she really had to go to the bathroom, she tried to ignore it and go into one of the bathroom stalls that were right next to that little lounge room. When she finally got into one of the stalls and locked the door, the woman's crying got worse. She said it was a very loud yell cry. As soon as the woman's crying got worse, the lights in the bathroom went out. Terrified, my mother instantly opened the bathroom stall door and ran out of the bathroom as fast as she could, swearing she would never ever go back in there alone again. Weeks later, Her and her friend were in the exact same building, and a friend needed to use the restroom. But when they both went inside, that little lounge room was no longer there. She later found out it was covered for some reason, and she'll never forget the lady that was once there. That wasn't my mom's first encounter with something like that, because her grandmother was a witch and all, but that's a story for another day. Now, sorry, I know this was kind of long, but I hope you read this in one of your videos so I can show my mom. I really enjoy your videos and love your content. You're kind of the reason I'd be staying up until 3 a.m. Keep doing you, girl. Love you. Love you too, Maritza. What do you think, Sarah, the ghost? Anything else you want to say? Say no? Donald Trump. Okay, thank you guys for your stories. I really appreciate you guys sending stories. Oh, this looks crazy. If you haven't already noticed, I've made this account to not show who I really am. Just call me Toby. I have no idea if this will go in your video. If not, oh well. I just hope you enjoyed reading my experience or my family's. That's really sweet. If you haven't noticed, I'm on my period. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I hope you may discuss it between you and your sisters or not to see what's going on. I gotta call Nelly in here. Nelly! Sussin, I'm right here. They want us to discuss this. And it's a crazy story.
Wait,
You're all dressed up!
No, I'm literally
Pinche
playing games with
pendejo.
Andre.
Text Andre what?
That we're recording something really fast.
What do I have him under? Minecraft boy.
So,
Wait,
5 minutes.
this is from
Oh my God,
Toby.
this is-
Oh boy, Toby. When I was 6 to 7, I would randomly wake up at the middle of the night. I would leave my room to see a man walk around my house. He did nothing much, maybe move stuff that weren't sit in plain air, look outside the window, or just stare at me back. He didn't do anything to me.
You said weren't sit in plain air. Weren't there sit in plain air.
That's what they said!
You said weren't sit in plain air.
Move stuff that weren't there, sit in plain air. I can't understand that right now. Look outside the window or just stare at me back. He didn't do anything to me. He just looked at me with a confused and scared face. I would also be terrified and would cry while running to my mother's room. She would just laugh and say I just had a nightmare. This would continue on until a year later. As I got older, my parents moved away to my auntie's house. I stayed at the house and lived there for maybe a year. Though I was just 18 or 19, I considered myself a grown man since I have to work and pay for the bills. Sometimes when I'm walking around, I would see a little boy in the hallway. I would ignore it and think I'm seeing stuff because that little boy looked a lot like me when I was younger. But I wasn't sure since his face was a little blurry. I went on with my daily life and I kept seeing the little boy in the hallway. One day, as I noticed his presence once again, I decided to stop and look at him too. That's when I noticed that that little boy was me when I was younger. I was very confused and scared to see my younger self. Maybe I was just dreaming when I realized that when I was younger, I would see a man at night in my house doing stuff I would do now. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I hope you may discuss it between you and your sisters or not to see what's going on. So when he was a little boy, he would see a grown man doing things around his house.
And then now that he's a grown man, he sees a little boy, and that little boy was him when he was younger.
Yes!
And that grown man was him when he's older.
Yeah!
That's weird. What?
That's why Bobby's my favorite sister.
No, I'm like thinking like what could that mean? It's like Donnie Darko.
His parents would tell him about parallel universes. Maybe our parents are aliens and they know about parallel universes. My parents never talk about parallel universes and I've never experienced parallel universe things. This other story is about a thing or ghost. I didn't read this part. No, you read it. I like when you read.
When I moved away from my old house, I lived in an apartment for a few years. When I first moved there, I didn't think much of the thing or spirit. Can we call them ghosts? Heart? Oh no, question mark. Or spirit, because I think saying things is rude. Or ghost. A few months. I thought it was a Care Bear. What? It was a Care Bear. Hope you believe me. I'm getting tired of not being believed.
I believe you with my whole entire heart. I believe
you as well. You know why? Don't ever over-explain yourself because that's a sign of trauma. Don't ever over-explain yourself. Say it once. Say it once.
You say what you mean and you mean what you say.
Yes, only you know what's true or not. People are gonna be like, yeah, I was right, because the more defensive you get. Because you had Care Bears, so I was like,
bitch, what the f*** are you talking about?
oh, those graham crackers, those little Care Bears. These are pretty big, not gonna lie.
Thank you guys for watching the video once again. A couple of things to say. I'm a vaccinated hottie. Shout out to the lady who was very, very aggressive with the needle. a couple things going on. My cousin moved in. Natalie, te quieren ver. Estoy en vivo. I said I'm live. Estoy grabando. Okay.
¿Qué digo, güey?
Diles qué eres.
I'm Biner.
We're teaching her English. There's more to come, especially since I'm vaccinated. All my homies are getting vaccinated. We can finally go out.
I'm looking for a hair.